Northeastern, WPI, RPI, Wentworth, UMass Lowell, UMass Amherst,
Boston Architectural College,
the New Hampshire Institute of Art,
Parsons and Bank Street College of Education,
Mass Art, Montserrat,
Boston College,
UMass Amherst,
Harvard University, Boston University, Cornell University, Massachusetts Institution of Technology, Yale University, Worcester Polytechnical Institute, New York University, Rutgers University, New Brunswick,
the New Hampshire Institute of Art,
UMass Boston, UMass Dartmouth, UMass Lowell,
Harvard, Stanford,
Springfield College,
Boston University,
the University of Southern California in Los Angeles, California,
Salem State,
Duke,
University of New Hampshire,
Pratt,
the American University in London,
UMaine, UMass,
St. John's University, and St. Michael's University.
Carnegie Mellon,
Emerson,
Connecticut College, Fitchburg State, Stonehill College, UMass Lowell,
Northeastern,
Syracuse, Ithaca,
Mass Art.
Oh, and UMass Lowell.
That's a lot of colleges there.
Which brings us to the topic of the day. College, a choice that is presented to us at the young, tender age of 18. Our lives, destiny, future, and so forth all revolve around a name, place, and major.
History.
stage management,
English teacher,
archaeology,
Mathematics and statistics.
civil engineer,
English,
art education,
some sort of engineering, physics,
Theater education,
To acting or into some type of English field.
art therapy,
biology,
theater major,
psychology,
architecture,
engineering/engineering design.
music probably.
undeclared engineering, but I am not completely sure at all if I want to do that.
It may be consistent. It may be not exactly what you planned senior year, but college creates a new arc in your lives. With all of this pressure, college may seem like a stressful concept, even to those not on the doorsteps of their fate. It could go well. It could go, well, not so well. Others may be fine. Others may be hyperventilating as they turn in their applications and wait. Either way, it's a process. By listening to the next few stories, we learned, was it really all that stressful?
a good 6 out of 8 stresses,
Why are you so stressed?
because school and my parents are pushing all this college stuff, but I decided to do it all by myself, because I'm independent.
Is it the deadlines that are stressing you, or just everything in general?
Not the deadlines, just like everything that has to like make up all of the work, like to apply to all the schools.
About college, I just try not to think about it, so not that much, but the deadlines are starting to come in, and I need to get a lot of stuff done for that, along with all of the AP classes I'm doing and the homework, so it'll probably start to catch up to me soon.
What about scholarships?
Haven't really thought about it yet. I need to get those, and I need to start working on those, so that's one of the things that will start occupying a lot of my time.
Not very. I mean, because of the interview, just a little, but...
What about the whole college experience?
It's very... I'm stressed about the scholarships because I haven't done that and I don't know what it's going to look like, but I've known what my essays are for the past, like 5 months, and I've already done almost all of them. I just have 1 left. 2 left. 2 left.
So you're doing pretty good right now?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I'm getting there. I'm a little less stressed today. I finished everything. Mostly everything. So stress level was very low, actually, surprisingly.
Was it really stressed before?
Yes. Getting everything in is extremely stressed.
Yes or no, there seems to be a mixed response on the stress levels due to college applications for students, though in result there seems to be at least some sort of stress from applying to college. While interviewing, I also talked to a few teachers asking about their experiences applying for college and asking them what they thought of the stress of today's applications.
For undergraduate, it wasn't difficult. For graduate school, it was extremely difficult, and it was kind of a frightening process. I had a lot of anxiety built up around it. I really wanted to go, but for English programs, not English for teaching high school, but just straight English programs, literature, it's extremely competitive, and I found myself in a demographic that wasn't easily accepted. So it was tough. My graduate experience was really, really difficult.
Do you think it was easier back then to get into the college program than now?
No, I think it actually may be even more difficult now from what I understand, especially for undergraduate. It seems like so many more students of such a higher caliber are applying that it just seems, as an undergraduate, I can imagine the anxiety about getting into the college you want is much more intense than it was for me when I went to school.
I don't remember it being really stressful, but as you know, my memory's really horrible. So maybe I've blocked it out. But I don't really remember it being as stressful as I see what you guys are going through.
So you say it'd be more stressful now than it was back then?
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard. I had to prepare my portfolio, which I did, and then I feel like I wrote one essay, and that applied to all the places that, I had to go to, and I took my SATs, and that was kind of it.
I don't know that I remember it being hard, but I remember it being time-consuming. When I was applying to college, it was a lot of paper applications still, so I would just bring the applications with me to school during the day, and whenever I had a free moment, I would fill out what I could. But the hardest part was like the essays and short answers, putting those together.
So was it stressful?
Yeah, mostly because I'm a bit of a perfectionist, and I am also a procrastinator. So I waited until like December to start working on my essays, and they were all due in January.
And would you say it was easier when you applied, or is it harder now?
What do you mean?
Like, was it easier back when you applied, even though that wasn't too far away, but considering seniors now, do you think they have a harder time?
I don't know. I think that it's because, I went to school, I graduated high school in 2006, so less than 10 years ago. I don't think much has changed.
Though at the beginning, we don't really know this. Our first steps entering the high school start off with us thinking, man, 4 years is a long time. But in the end, it is always
fast.
At first, you don't believe this conjured up hoax, as 4 years to you is a lot, but it really isn't.
Well, at first I thought it would go by really, really slow, but so far before I knew it, it's already December. And Mr. Goulart, my history teacher, he told me that these years are going to go by really, really, really fast. Considering it's already December and my mind's been blown at how fast it was going. It's like a Michael Bay movie.
Yes, the teachers at Gloucester High School have told us many a time that it really does go by faster than we think. And now being a senior myself, I realize that it's true. It just takes time to register the reality of it all. And as you speed by in these 4 years, it is almost as if college applications hit you like a sudden wall, slowing you down to prepare you to fling off wherever you end up. The real question is, though, were you prepared? Or better question, do you think that Gloucester High School, or any school in general, prepared you?
Honestly, I don't think I did. when going into as a freshman, I didn't care, and I wish they stressed more about my grades as a freshman and how they actually would matter, because they told us that they wouldn't matter, and they do. They have a huge impact on our GPA and stuff.
For the whole application process, it's a lot of just entering information, which isn't really what they teach in school, but it's also something that you just need to learn how to do. So I don't think they taught it in school, but I don't think that it is necessary to be taught in school.
No.
Why not?
Because, like, I get that we're supposed to, like, make the Naviance thing in freshman year, but then we just have it sit there, and it's kind of stupid, in my opinion, because we don't get used to it, really. We take, like, a few quizzes now and then to see what we want to do, but I think it should be more involved with, like, our school life. I know that it takes up time to do that, but I feel like there should be a bit more to it.
And they don't help you through the college process. Like, your guidance counselor only offers college things after early action, or like the week before everything's due. I don't feel that they helped you at all. The only reason that I was so prepared is because I took an after-school college success program for like 3 hours per week, starting my junior year, to get me to apply to college. Like, school doesn't help you at all.
In short, yes. But mostly it wasn't high school itself, it was things I had to teach myself to do assignments in high school. It's like you have to use the computer a lot, and a lot of, like, you have no idea what the Common App is when you get onto it, but, like, you figure it out, and then the essays, that's what English is for.
Definitely AP English with Mr. Cook helped me a lot with my writing skills and the ability to write about myself and to just, write, decently overall. So I think that helped a lot.
Not the curriculum per se, more of certain teachers.
So more like individual teachers outside of the guidelines of the high school?
No, they were able to be really, I don't know, more, they could be people I could look up to, and that's what I needed, what was good, and not the curriculum. The curriculum was kind of bullshit, to be honest.
And so what you're saying is the past 4 years of high school really didn't prepare you at all?
Not really. It prepared me for the essay part, but not for the rest of the thing. It's simple enough that you can figure it out. It just would have been helpful if they told me what I would have needed, like, during my, like, the end of my junior year. Like, this is the stuff you need to figure out to put on.
So do you think they should do the after-school program more in school? Like your college after-school program?
Yes, I think that they should have seniors meet with guidance counselors and have the guidance counselors go through with their Common App. I feel like the guidance counselors kind of just don't care enough. They have so many students, and I think that's an issue. Maybe the after-school program should be mandatory to all seniors, or like instead of having a study block, it could be mandatory for juniors to take a college course or something instead of a study block. I don't know. It's just they don't prepare you enough. You're just so focused on your grades and your certain classes and that's all they stress. They don't really tell you what to do.
Yes, because I know they offer a lot of things after school, but that's not going to be appealing to most of the students. And I understand that a college planning class will also get a lot of people who want to slack off. However, it would be beneficial for the people who actually want to do that.
So another person that I interviewed said that they preferred if they offered a college planning class during the school year instead of after school, which they do have an after-school college planning program now, but it'd be better to have one during school. What are your opinions on that?
I think a class during the school period would be helpful because people don't really take those kind of things seriously if it's after school. Like, a bunch of the stuff I went to didn't really matter, but I don't know if it would be enough to fill an entire class of just, like, college planning. Maybe if it was just, like, college planning and, like, just explaining how the college system works. Because one of the main issues I had was, like, basically my entire Calc 1 class, they didn't know how to act with the professor. So he just awkwardly stared at us for a good 10 minutes during class.
And at Gloucester High School, we recently got a directed study block for students with more EP classes to get homework. Do you think it'd be better to transfer that to be, like I said, a college class? Because most of the kids are seniors doing college apps, or do you think they should have a mix of both, or?
I think a mix of both. Maybe, like, you can decide which one you want. Because, personally, like, I feel that, like, a free block would help you, like, get used to the college lifestyle better. But, like, a college planning course would obviously help you be prepared for what college is going to be.
And, you know, the essays that you need to write come with, you know, writing essays about books you read and things like that. So I think that it has prepared me for as much as it needs to. I feel like any further would have been trivial and unnecessary.
Whether or not Gloucester High School really helped us prepare for these past 4 years, we are still seniors, ready to leave and go to college. Many factors have been applied to our applications for college. Essays, grades, and many other factors will help us in what college we go off to, such as financial aid, scholarships, and programs. But before we get into that, let's talk about what do you think colleges really look at for applications? Are grades good? Let's find out.
I know that when talking to my sister who just graduated college, when talking to her, talking about how her and her friends got into college and how grades can play a very important role.
They look at your grades. They look at a bunch of other things too, but I think it's going to be an important factor.
I think it's very, very important. I think it's the most important factor in being accepted into college or not. And I even think senior grades are important, and I think that, like, senior grades throughout the year are important to all grades.
So, how important is class ranking to you?
Pretty important, because, like, colleges look at your class rank, and there are, like, statistics, like Stanford only accepts, I think, 1% of people in the top 10% of their class. So, like, if you're in the top 5, you're pretty good off. You're pretty well off, you know. So that's a goal of mine, to be top 5, top, like, 1 would be awesome, but I'm pretty close. You know.
Do you know exactly where you are, or?
I'm number 4.
It's important in the sense that you should have a high ranking, but I feel like it's not everything.
Not so important that I stress about it all the time.
And, like, it's great to show, like, colleges that you're up there in your grade.
But it's still an important thing.
But it shouldn't base your whole, like, college application or anything like that. Like, yeah.
Like, I mean, it's obviously not the most important thing for, like, colleges and schools and stuff, because they look at a bunch of different things, but it helps a lot. So I'd say it's pretty important to me. Even if I'm not, like, number 1, I don't care, as long as I'm up there.
It's not important at all. I don't believe in grades. I don't believe that grades say how smart you are, because it's a standardized way of teaching us. So everyone learns a different way. So a grade is just a number that the school sees you as, but you could have a really bad day and then do horrible on the test, or be really lucky and guess on the test, and then you seem smart, but you don't know it.
Do you think other things are more important?
Than class ranking? Yes. I think it's, like, a lot of how you act and, like, even growth and stuff and all the things you do throughout high school. Because if you just go to school and you just get good grades, that's just very flat. Like, you're not really doing anything else. You want to be like everyone says, be well-rounded, and we hear it a lot, but it's very true. You have to be well-rounded.
Do you think the essays are more important or grades?
I think they're equally important. I think the grades tell them if you could be a candidate, and then the essay tells you if they're going to accept you.
But please do remember that your grades do matter.
So no B's. No B's. B's are bad. B's are bad. B stands for bad. B stands for
And in all seriousness,
I think that grades are a very good indication of your likelihood to get into college, and I'm very proud of my grades, and would advise everyone to try and do the best they can, but I don't think that is the end-all and be-all to get into college.
So it doesn't matter between the first person in the class to like the 50th?
No.
that brings us to another important topic of college selection. Yes, by now you've already been accepted to a few colleges, but there's always the many factors that brings you to where you're going to go. It could be location, could be the people there, or more importantly, it could be financial aid. Financial aid is a giant barrier between every college student's dream school and everything else. Here we have a few first-year students along with some teachers explaining the complications that is financial aid.
Surprisingly, FAFSA was harder. Like, all of the financial difficulties was so much more difficult. Everyone's like, your applications, they're going to be hard, they're going to be difficult. And I feel like a lot of it is actually the stress put on it, put by other people, where they're like, if you don't get this right, you are a failure in society.
So financial aid was a pretty big impact on where you went as well.
Yeah, because my parents can't really afford the entire $60,000 tuition from Carnegie and Northeastern. So, and Northeastern gave me like $30,000 in scholarships a year, so that's good.
I think that more seniors are aware of how much student loan debt sucks, for lack of a better phrase. So many seniors don't necessarily reach for their dream school because they are more focused on the money, and they let money steer them away from being, choosing the school that they really want to go to.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, money does come into the equation.
Unless I want to work at Starbucks all my life. That'd be cool too.
But it's always a mixed response. But these people are all managing to find their way, or already have, with or without the help of the school. They scrap their way through and manage to get where they're going. Some of the people who have been interviewed have already figured out where they're going for college. Others are still waiting for the acceptance letters or deferrals or being denied. It's always a process. But another question stands. What is the future? Those kids who are still stuck in the cradle of high school awaiting their time to fly away. What happens to them? Well, nothing really. They stay in high school as you run off, awaiting to get to their senior year. But will they be in the same shoes? Most likely, yes. But after all of this, will those who had already applied help the younger ones when they need to apply? Will your siblings be there for you?
My older brother, Stephen Gross, he graduated 2014. He went off to Salem State, and he wants to be an accountant.
Yeah, I have a brother that's going to college next year.
I do not. I'm the oldest of all my siblings.
Yes, I have two. I have one that she's Caroline. She is at Brandeis in her last year of undergraduate. She wants to be a doctor, but I don't know where she's going right now. And then there's Nicole, who's in her first year of Northwestern, and that's, yeah. I don't know what she's doing.
Not yet, but my brother is a senior this year, and he'll be going off to college.
No. I'm the oldest, and then I have a little sister, but she's in 7th grade.
Any other siblings or?
Well, my older sister joined the military. She didn't go to college first, so she's enlisted, which means she didn't go to college.
Are you going to do similar things as your siblings or not at all?
Well, my family wants me to go into science-related fields because they think that's what I love the most, but it's not. I just find it interesting, so I'm definitely not going to go into that region, and they're not happy about that.
And does the knowledge of knowing your sisters had made it through the college process put a little less stress on you?
Yeah, definitely, because since 2 of them went through it, I know a lot about the college process and a lot about different organizations that give aid that like I might have not known about, so on.
Do you think they'll help you?
Yeah.
Hopefully he can, like if he's there or if he goes off to some other college, but I think he will help me.
And do you think that will cause less stress?
Most likely, because like I'm already stressed out about high school now, even though it's going pretty good. But now that I have like an older sibling to help me, my stress levels have gone down.
Is he pretty stressed right now, or?
No, he's kind of relaxed about it. I think he knows what he wants to do, and I think he has it all under control.
Has he applied for anything yet, or?
Not yet, but like really soon. He's working on it.
Do you feel like you're going to be the same way, or?
I feel like I might be a little more stressed about it. Yeah.
Does he know where he's going?
He's going to North Shore.
And do you think that he'll be able to help you with the college application process when you get there?
Yeah, he'll probably help me, walk me through it a little.
Do you think it'll be more stressful to apply to colleges since you're the first one of the family?
Probably. I mean, like for my parents and stuff, they didn't really have a lot of like college opportunities, so I mean, it's not that they don't know how to do all that stuff with me. I'm sure they can help me, but I think it's going to be different, especially now considering it's like years later after they did it. So, I mean, I think it'll be okay. Obviously, it's going to be stressful because college applications, those are always stressful from what I hear.
And do you think that when it's time for your siblings to apply to college that you'll be able to help them out?
Oh, yeah, sure, definitely.
Yeah. My cousin just went off, but yeah, in my immediate family, I'll be the first, child to go off.
So do you have any ideas that put extra stress on you or your family just because you are the first?
A little bit, because, both my parents are busy, so I'm kind of trying to do it myself right now. But I'm sure, come junior year, my parents will be a little more involved with it. So I'm a little stressed out, but I'm not overwhelmed by it.
But after all this, is college really going to be different? Is the high school lifestyle replicated within the halls of these large buildings housing students in knowledge for 8 or more semesters? Who knows? A few first-year college students, along with some teachers at the high school, were able to unfold on their story about college life to better show the upcoming seniors what to be prepared for and...
a lot of shitty paperwork.
Yeah, that too.
What was your first day of college like?
Long.
Terrifying. I didn't really know anyone, so a huge part of me was wandering around campus with my roommate because she didn't really know anyone either. We were just kind of what is this? And a lot of people at my college actually knew other people because high schools tend to be you should go to this school, and then 5 people apply, and 3 of them get in, and they're like, hey, we actually know each other, let's cling to each other. But, good food, I guess. That tends to be a worry, although you get tired of it fast, no matter how good the food is, because nothing compares to home-cooked food.
Yeah. Let's see. I accidentally showed up for my first class half an hour early, and I basically walked into another professor's lecture. I basically ran right out of the room and just had to wait in the hallway awkwardly for my teacher to show up. basically me and 5 other students were there waiting in the hall, and our professor was walking around the corridors because he felt he didn't want to go in and disrupt the professor. And we were just talking amongst ourselves saying, what's with that person? Aren't they a little old to go here? And I was like, maybe he's just a graduate student. And then he was our calc professor.
Alright, so first things first, like, a lot of my impressions of my teachers have changed. Because my first day of classes I was very excited about my professor because she seemed very nice, and then that completely flip-flopped. And I was also kind of making fun of my friend because she got this weird, scary-looking Voldemort-type guy, and he was crazy hard. But in retrospect, I kind of wish I had him because he's very insightful, whereas my professor has, like, no idea how to give critique. And then sort of the rest of the week was also the same way, where a lot of my professors, I said, oh, I like them, or I don't like them at all. And then by the end of the semester, I said, those people are kind of my favorites, and those people suck. But it was like a very weird kind of day to go through for that first day of college, because, like I said, it's very different from everything else that I've done. So to have this whole new world, like, put on me and say, like, yeah, you need to go ahead and hand draft a whole bunch of different lines in a square and have fun with that. And me sitting there like, what does that even mean? What am I doing? What are they expecting of me? Because high school to art school is like going from black and white to everything gray. And it's hard to just change your whole mindset to that kind of thing.
Like, my drawing one teacher was Daryl, and they all have you call them by their first name because you're an adult now, and apparently that's allowed, and it's not in high school. I don't think there's that much of a difference with me, but okay, sure. So with him, he, like, Miss Underwood is like, you need to make it look exactly like what's over there, and I'm going to tell you what you're, like, it needs to be perfect. And he was like, okay, guys, you're stage managers and lighting designers, you're not going to be able to draw perfectly. I know this is a required course, so give it your best shot, and as long as you're trying, and I can tell that you're actively, like, attempting to put, like, what I'm teaching you into effect, you're cool. And, like, there's this one girl in my class, she can't draw for crap. Like, she tried to draw an egg, and it looked like, it looked like a steel ball. Like, it was really, not to say that my drawing skills are much better, but, like, and she was like, it just doesn't click with me. I can't draw like this. And he was like, that's okay. I don't care. As long as you're trying. And she tried very, very hard. She didn't show much improvement, but she was definitely invested in that class, and they got along famously.
Sounds a lot like Missy's class, actually.
Yeah, I never took classes with Missy, but I was like, this is probably what it would be like, because Missy is awesome.
Yeah, she is.
And you said that it was awkward the first day because no one talked to the calc professor.
It was awkward the entire semester. No one talked to the calc professor. He was very passive-aggressive.
Doesn't sound fun.
It was long. It was, I had all my classes. I had 6 classes.
It was also nice because I only had 2 liberal arts courses in the first semester, and one of them was basically an arts course, but they called it a liberal arts course. That was an interesting class. And I had psychology, which was a good class. Yeah.
Was the teaching methods a lot different from high school?
It depends on the class that you're taking. In psychology, I found that, I took psychology class, like CP1 psychology with Mr. Perot. And I found that my college class was much more different than that because while he did use PowerPoint slides and lectures, he was much more about having discussions during class. And while Mr. Perot did encourage that, it didn't always happen. So I found with my teacher, who was Dr. Gredline, that he did a lot more videos and be like, okay guys, what do you think this video means? How do you think it pertains to the reading that you were supposed to do, like last night, etc., etc. When it came to my arts classes, they're obviously much different because I didn't take a lot of arts classes in high school. I did take drawing with Miss Underwood and Clayworks.
So were there any other noticeable things, like what about moving in, your roommate, any other things you want to talk about?
Moving in's was really easy for me, mostly because my parents were lucky enough to find a parking space right out in front of my dorm, while everyone else had to park in the garage, like on the other side of campus. Yeah. It was bad. Because we just had all of these people like running across campus with these bins full of their suitcases, and then there was just my family parked outside carrying in boxes. And I was like, haha, you suck.
What floor did you live on?
I live on the 3rd floor.
And how many floors were in your
There's 4 floors, unless you count the laundry room. So there are 5 floors, but the laundry room's like negative floor. It's like the basement.
So you would say you lucked out a bit on your first day or your first semester at college in comparison to others.
Yeah, mostly because my dorm's like right across from the bathroom too. Like the nice bathroom.
So it was a pretty good day. And what about the actual move-in process, like getting your stuff up?
God, that was horrible. It was well organized and it was efficient for a move-in process, but because you're moving in and there's like hundreds of other people trying to do it on the same day as you with the same goal in mind of just getting into their room and settling down, it's really exhausting.
What floor were you on, your dorm, by any chance?
2nd floor.
So not as bad as being on the 7th floor or the...
We actually don't have a 7th floor for our dorms. The highest they go is the 3rd floor, and I felt bad for those suckers because the poor moving guys had to like haul all of that stuff up to the 3rd floors, and eventually they got to this process where they would take lighter things and throw them up to like a little balcony where the guy would catch it and then throw it up to the 3rd floor balcony, unless it was like a suitcase or something, in which case they just drag it up.
Well, move-in day was very high, like, stress because I was meeting new people and I was rooming with people I had never met before and never talked to before, and one of them I didn't even know was going to be my roommate, and we did not get along whatsoever. They were actually really rude, and I got out of that situation, luckily, but just getting moved in and getting settled was probably the most stressful thing I've done to college, but eventually you meet the right people and disassociate people who treat you like crap.
What about the atmosphere of the college itself, your dorm, the people you met?
Everybody there has been very nice, and it was a great way to adjust to it, because if like the people there sucked, it would have been this whole other level of just stress and discomfort. But because people were nice, it allowed me to kind of adjust to everything. And then it's just, because it's an art school, it's always been like a very accepting and like great community to be with. And it helps you like really understand the idea of, maybe I want to explore myself. Maybe this is where I need to go to actually understand who I am, what I want to do with the rest of my life, what I want to do with my body now, and what I want to do like with my head and what I have in my youth. So it's like this very, again, high school is like, it's very cliquey and you don't understand, like, if you don't do the right thing, you're not going to fit in. And then if you don't fit in, then what do you have but yourself? But here, if you're weird, it's like a whole new kind of thing where you wind up with more friends because you're an individual.
What about the academics?
Academics really honestly weren't a problem for me. It was actually something to focus on.
like the negative. I've actually had a lot of trouble with the social aspect, not the academics. Because honestly, I think it's over dramatic how teachers say how hard college is. I think it honestly depends on the school you go to and the teachers you have.
So you say they kind of put college in high school as a bigger deal than it actually turns out to be?
Yes. At least at how hard you need to, like, it really honestly just depends on your situation. Like if you go to, like, art school, you're going to be different than a public state school. You know what I mean? So it's honestly just depends on where you go and what teachers you get.
And it's one of those things where it's just like you kind of look at trying to figure out who to sit next to and who to be friends with, and you're just like, you don't look like a horrible person, I'm going to try and be friends with you.
So I'm guessing the atmosphere and...
It was one of those things where no one knew each other, and so everyone was kind of like, hi. And everyone was super friendly, and it was awesome, but everyone was still at that awkward, like, I want to find friends.
And did you find friends?
Yeah. Well, I made a group of friends, but none of them were freshmen the night before because of karaoke. That was an interesting night.
And what about your first week of classes? How did that go?
That was really nice, actually. I really enjoyed my classes. It was a much easier way, for me at least, to, like, talk to people and meet with people, because I don't like just in a random situation and environment just going and be like, hey, so I know you're doing something else, but, like, talk to me right now. Okay, cool. So in class, like, it's a lot easier if you just walk up to someone and you're like, hey, can I borrow your pencil? I haven't gotten mine yet. Which is really easy in art school because you need specific pencils. So if they're like, use your 4H pencil to do such and such a thing, and be like, hey, dude, I forgot my 4H pencil, like, sorry. And then you strike up a conversation. Sorry, I'm giving you, like, social lessons right now.
No, it's fine. I'll need it when I go to art school.
But,
no wild parties that happen the first day for all the freshmen, or?
Not that I know of. One of my friends has, like, stories of parties that go on, but I avoid them.
I was like a good kid.
I was by no means a crazy student, and I didn't, do anything wild or crazy.
No wild parties?
No wild parties.
And what did you think of the upperclassmen in college, or did you not really notice them?
The upperclassmen, I haven't really interacted much outside of my TAs and my RAs. I have one class, my elective class was a mix of upperclassmen and lowerclassmen. So I got to talk to them, and they were all really nice. I accidentally mistook one of the people in my class as a upperclassman when he was a freshman. I was like, oops, you're in my grade.
So would you say it's like starting high school freshman year all over again, or is it completely different?
It's kind of, I'd say it's very different because this time you're more adult, so you're more prepared for the introduction into a new school environment. Also, social interaction is not mandated, unlike high school, so it's completely up to you to, like, adjust socially.
So basically be like, hey dude, I hate you.
Mhm.
Can't do that in high school. Not really.
Yeah, you can hate people in your class. My theater professor actually told us during our final project, which was the only group project we did, she told us that if we had to, we could kick people out of the group.
So the professors also have a lot more liberties than high school professors.
Oh, they do. They can just, like, cancel class for the day. They can kick people out.
And so you would say it's definitely worth it to go to college?
I'd say it's worth it to go to college if it suits your career path, like, because of the cost and everything. Like, it's, like, for a bunch of jobs, it's not really necessary. It just looks better if you have a degree. Like, for me, I'm going into engineering, so I need to go to college because there's all this technical stuff they never teach you in high school.
Are there any practices that you would like to point out that really don't need to go to college, or?
For me, it's mostly the arts, because you can self-train in those if you're devoted enough. Acting, I'd say, is a bit iffier, because sometimes they're just, like, it's harder because you also have to learn how to, like, really analyze scripts well. And that's it. That's all I can think of. Maybe business. I think you can self-learn business if you try hard enough.
Well, going to school at USC is always a really interesting experience because it's a big football school. So weekends during the fall are ridiculous, with tailgates happening everywhere on campus. So that's always a fun and interesting experience. In addition, a lot of TV shows use the outside of brick buildings at USC to represent East Coast buildings because it's easier and cheaper for them to just film in Los Angeles than it is to fly all of the actors and the crew and the equipment to an East Coast city to film. So my first weekend alone at USC, my freshman year, they were filming an episode of House. And then in April of my freshman year, they filmed the second to last episode of Gilmore Girls, which was one of my favorite shows at the time. And then throughout my college experience, it was like a thing, like, oh, hey, look, there's another film crew, like, on campus filming something. And, you know, there would be roads that got blocked off or, like, walkways in campus that you couldn't take because they were filming things. You, like, couldn't necessarily take your shortcut. In addition, USC brings in a lot of big-name speakers through their events and big-name artists. So, you know, I've witnessed John Williams conducting his own music. I've been to a Rufus Wainwright concert. I've met, you know, a plethora of celebrities, including Tim Curry and Kathleen Turner through, you know, classes and interviews and things like that. So being in LA just kind of made the whole thing an interesting experience.
So, were you able to have AP credits be used in your college?
Yes. Actually, they were easily used, which was so awesome, because a lot of colleges nowadays are like, you need to get a 4 or a 5. But my college was like, yeah, if you get a 3 and above, you're fine. Just give us scores and stuff. So I actually got out of my history courses, my math and science, because you don't need to take a math and a science. You can take a math or a science, and I had AP Bio credits, which counted for both of them. I was like, yes. I got out of Comp 1, but you can't get out of Comp 2, because even if you took both classes, so my advice would be make sure that your college to get out of an English class, that it needs both of those scores, because if it only takes one score, don't bother to take, like, one of the, like, if you took language and literature, and you got a good score on language, you might not necessarily need to take the test for literature, because then if you take the test, it's a solid $80. And that's $80 for a test that you might not necessarily need the score for, although that depends on which college you go to, so, yeah.
So don't worry, it'll all be okay, as in the end,
all the stress is worth it to get there.
Definitely. As, like, while I was going through it, I hated it. I hated myself. I hated everything about College Board and the schools, but now that I'm here, or at college, I'm really enjoying myself.
And even if you are, remember,
I think people make way too much out of it. if you're a B student, you're going to get into some college.
What about the C students?
Well, they'll probably get into, or go to community college and then transfer.
What about the D students?
There's always trucks to be driven.